Hello everyone and welcome back to Roll-A-Niche. In this video we are going to talk about the Rogue class and all the features you would get as a rogue. We're also going to spend a little bit of time talking about the Roguish Archetype options that are available in your player's handbook. These are going to be your subclass options, but more on this to come. So, the Rogue is primarily known or thought of as the stealthy one, the one in the shadows, the one that is going to, sneak up on their enemies or pick some pockets or perhaps lead the party in a march order to check for traps and things like that, because they have many precise skills and expertise in certain areas. So having a rogue in your party is very advantageous. Your player's handbook is going to suggest that you focus on dexterity as your highest ability score. This is primarily because things that rogues will do often, like stealth, search for traps, sleight of hand, pickpockets, pick locks, those are all dexterity based scores, so it will very much serve your rogue well to focus on dexterity. The next highest that your player's handbook suggests is going to be your intelligence. And this is going to help searching rooms and looking for traps kind of thing, because those are investigation checks and they're intelligence based. Also, if you choose the Arcane Trickster Roguish Archetype as your subclass, that is going to fuel your spell casting for your rogue. Now, if you are not really so much interested in playing the Arcane Trickster, perhaps instead of intelligence as your second highest ability score, maybe you would then lean into charisma, emphasizing the deception and social skills for your rogue should you ever get caught pickpocketing or sneaking around. That might come in handy. There is a rogue table in your player's handbook, and this shows you where your proficiency bonuses change per level. And then it shows you your sneak attack die. So sneak attack is a feature we're going to go over in a moment, but you get an extra set of damage dice based on sneaking to your enemy or your target. And that changes as you level up, right? So just naturally, as you become a stronger rogue, your sneak attack is also going to evolve with your character. And that's pretty cool. So let's take a look at some of your features, starting with the hit points. The rogue uses a D8 for the hit dice. That is the diamond-shaped one that I have in my hand. So anytime you're leveling or going to do a short rest, it is the D8 that you will roll to regain hit points. As far as proficiencies are concerned, rogues are able to wear light armor. Anything beyond light has the potential to make noise and could impose disadvantage on stealth, which is counterintuitive for playing a rogue. As far as weapons are concerned, it's going to limit you to simple weapons like daggers, short swords, rapiers, things like that, as well as a hand crossbow for your ranged attacks. Your proficiency is going to be thieves' tools. This is going to be unique to the rogue. The rogue is the class that would primarily use tools like this to pick locks and such, so that is what you're going to start out having proficiency in. And as far as your saving throws are concerned, you'll have proficiency in the dexterity and intelligence saving throws. For skills, you get more skills than most classes, and you get to choose 4 from the following: acrobatics, athletics, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, performance, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. My recommendation, if you're trying to be a rogue that is going to utilize the shadows and your stealth, I would definitely take proficiency in stealth and sleight of hand for pickpocketing. And then myself, I might pivot to something more like persuasion or investigation, so I can really be good at looking for traps or turning over a room to look for items, things like that. Persuasion I would take just because if I get caught doing some things, I'd rather persuade or maybe even use deception in lieu of persuasion. not that I want to lie to my party members, maybe at first I would, but I want to be able to talk my way out of certain situations. So that would be me, but you could definitely lean into the athleticism of your rogue, going rooftop to rooftop, diving into the alleys by taking athletics, acrobatics, something like that. This just gives you a wide array of versatility on how you want to build it. Just think about how you want to act in your environment and choose accordingly. As far as weapons are concerned, you're going to start with either a rapier, which is like that long, skinny, like fencing style sword that like you see in like TV shows or whatever with pirates, or a short sword. These are finesse. They could be wielded with one hand rather quickly, and that's what you want for your rogue. You're also going to get either a short bow and a quiver of 20 arrows, or a short sword. So if you want to dual wield, that is an option. Having a short bow in lieu of a crossbow, that could work for you as well. And then as far as the packs, you get a Burglar's Pack, Dungeoneer, or Explorer's Pack. The Explorer's Pack and Dungeoneer's Pack are pretty similar. The Burglar's Pack is unique to the Rogue, and it's going to contain things like a crowbar, things that you think you might need to break in and enter. You also will start with leather armors, 2 daggers, and thieves' tools, because as you're building, even at level 1, you're proficient in the thieves' tools. Why wouldn't you have a set? So this will allow you like lockpicks and things like that. Okay, as far as the features that all rogues get, at first level you get something called expertise. This is going to allow you to take 2 of the skills you're proficient in and double the proficiency bonus to consider yourself an expert in those 2 skills. You get that right away at first level. It increases to allow you to pick 2 more at 6th level. As considering as you level up, you become more skilled, and so that makes sense. You also get access to sneak attack at first level. This is a extra set of damage, but with contingencies, right? This says once per turn, so not each swing, but once per turn, you get an extra d6 of damage to a 1 creature you hit with an attack if you have advantage on the attack roll. Now, this is where you want to use your environment to your advantage. Maybe you're sneaking up on an opponent in a city and you're sneaking up through an alley. You want to make a stealth check so they don't hear you. If you pass that stealth check, I, as your DM, is going to say, okay, you now have advantage. Great, because I want advantage, so I can use my sneak attack. If your DM is following flanking rules, maybe you have one of your teammates approach a target from the front so you can sneak up from behind. Now you're flanking your target. You automatically get advantage. And because you have advantage, you, my friend, can use sneak attack. The attack must use a finesse or ranged weapon. So if you're going to use that short bow or hand crossbow, great. If you're going to use that short sword or rapier or some daggers, great. That's what you need to be sneaky. Here's a caveat. You don't need to have advantage on the roll if another enemy of the target is within 5 feet of it. So an enemy of the target is your friend. Right. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, which is true. So if a member of your party is just standing near your target within 5 feet, you automatically get advantage. You don't have to work out the mechanics. It just happens automatically, and you get that extra d6 for sneak attack, because that's a way of saying in the mechanics, like, they're distracted by the person standing right next to them. They're not worried about you sneaking up behind them, right? Or off to the side. And again, as you increase in level, your table shows you that your sneak attack die increases. So you see it goes to 2d6 extra damage at 3rd level, 3d6 at 5th, 4d6 at 7th, 5d6 at 9th, and so on. So every odd level, you're going to get an increase in your sneak attack all the way to 10d6 once you reach 19th level, which is pretty cool. You also are going to be able to speak Thieves' Cant. This is more like a mix of code speak, jargon. Think of it like an inside joke, but in dialogue. Like, it's almost like gibberish, but it's code that makes sense to other rogues. This can be spoken or graffitied on a wall or put on a note. so that if intercepted and someone looks at it, it just looks like gibberish to them. However, if another rogue gets their hands on it and they can speak Thieves' Cant, they'll be able to decipher what is on that message. So, you'll be able to convey short messages using Thieves' Cant. So this is going to be something that you could, do and be able to communicate with the seedy underbelly, if you will. At second level, you get a feature called Cunning Action. This is going to allow you to take the dash, disengage, or hide action as a bonus action. This is a big deal considering dash will allow you to double your movement and usually takes an action. For a rogue, it's a bonus action, so it really helps you with your sneak attack ability. Disengage allows you to hit an enemy, disengage, and move, so you don't provoke opportunity attacks and keep your rogue moving throughout the battlefield. And then hide. Of course, using the hide action as a bonus action allows you to hit, run, or sneak up on somebody using that stealth check as a bonus action to then perhaps give yourself the advantage you need to benefit from the sneak attack dice. So that's pretty cool. At third level, you get to choose your subclass. This is called the Roguish Archetype, and you have 3 options in your player's handbook: the Thief, the Assassin, and the Arcane Trickster. We're going to take a look at the Thief version a little bit later on in this video. At 4th level, 8th, 10th, 12th, 16th, and 19th level, you get ability score improvement. So this is where you can increase 1 ability score by 2 points, or 2 ability scores by 1 point. If your DM allows it, you can forego the ability score improvement and take a feat instead. Just work that out with your Dungeon Master. At 5th level, you get a feature called Uncanny Dodge. When an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can spend your reaction to half the damage against you, just because. It's like you moved and they caught a glancing blow. That'll justify you taking half damage. But it uses your reaction, so use it judiciously. Remember, you only get 1 reaction, and then it replenishes on the start of your next turn. At 7th level, you get this awesome feature called Evasion. This is what, to me, makes the Rogue such a fun class to play, because you can dodge out of the way of certain area of effect instances, such as like a dragon's breath weapon or a mage's fireball. Anything that subjects you to make a dexterity saving throw to maybe take half damage on a success. Instead, you take no damage on a success and you take half damage on the failure. So, while everybody else is either taking the full blast or half damage if they succeed, you would take none or half at worst, which is great because being that shifty rogue helps explain this, in canon. So again, another good reason why you want to focus on dexterity as your primary ability score, because it'll increase your dexterity bonuses, such as your dexterity saving throw, giving you more of an opportunity to utilize this skill. At 11th level, you get something called Reliable Talent. Whenever you make an ability check that lets you add your proficiency bonus, you can treat any roll on your d20 of 9 or lower as a 10. So that's just going to increase your probability of success for that ability check that you're proficient in, because it's kind of viewing you as a jack of all trades, and so that'll help explain that. At 14th level, you get Blind Sense. If you're able to hear, so as long as you're not deafened, you are aware of the location of any hidden or invisible creature within 10 feet of you. Once they get within 10 feet of you, it's almost as if you feel their presence or hear their presence, and you know where they are. So they don't get the benefit of being invisible once they're within 10 feet of you, which is pretty awesome. At 15th level, you get Slippery Mind. This means you gain proficiency in wisdom saving throws. Now remember, you start off with proficiency in dexterity and intelligence saving throws. Slippery Mind gives you proficiency in wisdom saving throws. So that's going to really help you against fae and casters and undead creatures that utilize wisdom for spellcasting purposes, or a ghost's horrifying visage or a banshee's wail, things like that. At 18th level, you get Elusive. This means that no attack roll has advantage against you while you're not incapacitated. So no matter what I do as an attacker against you at 18th level, I can't get advantage on you because you're elusive. At 20th level, you get a feature called Stroke of Luck. If your attack misses a target within range, you can turn the miss into a hit. You heard that right. Alternatively, if you fail an ability check, you can treat the d20 roll as a 20. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short rest. So those are the dire needs, must-have ability. You know what? DM, I missed. But I'm going to go ahead and use my Stroke of Luck. I hit. I'm just going to say, okay, roll damage. There's nothing I can do about that, which makes it a very awesome feature. Okay, that's what all rogues get. Let's dive into the Roguish Archetypes. We're going to start with Thief in this video, and we'll continue with Assassin and Arcane Trickster in our next video. So if you take the Thief option at 3rd level, the first ability that is going to be unique to you that you get is called Fast Hands. You can use a bonus action granted by your Cunning action to make a sleight of hand check, use your Thieves' tools to disarm a trap or open a lock, or take a use an object action. So this is essentially, Cunning action would allow you bonus action to dodge, disengage, or hide. Taking Thief, you can add a stealth check, a sleight of hand check, or use an object in with those other 3 options. So that's pretty cool. Using your bonus option action and not a full action to do so is a pretty good trick of the trade. Next, you get Second Story Work. This is another feature you get at 3rd level. You gain the ability to climb faster than normal. Climbing no longer costs you extra movement. So it's as if you have a climb speed that's equal to your walking speed. If you don't have a climb speed, naturally, you can climb, but at half your movement. And typically, I as a DM will require some kind of athletics check or something along the way to help facilitate that action. But when you get Second Story Work, it just happens. In addition, when you're making a running jump, the distance you cover increases by a number of feet equal to your dex modifier. So making a running jump in D&D costs you 10 movement right off the bat. And the number of feet that you can jump is going to be your 3 plus your strength score. That's how many feet you can cover. This is going to allow you to also add your dexterity modifier, so just a few extra feet onto that. At 9th level, you get something called Supreme Sneak. You have advantage on stealth checks if you move no more than half your speed on the same turn. So if you've got a speed of 30, as long as you're not moving past 15 feet, you would get advantage on stealth checks. Use Magic Device. By 13th level, you've learned enough about magic that you can improvise the use of items when they're not intended for you. You ignore all class, race, and level requirements used for the use of those magic items. So sometimes you're going to find magic items that'll say, requires attunement by a paladin, requires attunement by a warlock, right? Typically, if you're not that class, you're not really going to be able to use that item. This is going to ignore that. So any magic item that says you need to be of this level or of this race or of this class, you, my friend, ignore that. You can use it. And then finally, at 17th level, you get a feature called Thief's Reflexes. You could take 2 turns during the first round of any combat. You use your first turn at your normal initiative and your second turn at your initiative minus 10. So if you rolled a 15 for your initiative, you're going to go at 15 like you're supposed to. Then minus 10, you're going to go at initiative 5, right? So you get 2 full turns when you're 17th level due to this feature. That's awesome. All right, my friends, that is going to cover what all rogues get and what you get when you choose Thief as your roguish archetype at 3rd level. We're going to dive into the Assassin and Arcane Trickster Roguish Archetypes in our next video. So until then, keep rolling those dice, and we'll see you at the table.